AI is not going away, and
No.
I can give people several examples. Right, I'm old enough to remember pre-internet days, right? And this newfangled technology came along, and then it was like, oh, companies are having websites, and now everybody has a website, right? The idea used to be, oh, it's an expense. I don't necessarily want to have that. If you're not on the web, you don't have a business. And then you can even talk insurance things like EPL coverage. Right, EPL was long to adopt. Cyber was long to adopt, but all those coverages, all those things I just talked about, they're in our very daily lives, and that is absolutely going to be the same thing with generative AI. So if for anyone that is thinking that this is a phase, it is not. The technology is too good, it's too smart, and it does everything that you suggested, David. You know, the idea of allowing and enhancing the work of your team, that you should be absolutely be looking to generative AI because of the examples I expressed earlier. That is real and it's coming. It is actually going to enhance individuals' work life in the sense of, to your point, they will no longer have to spend time on some of the mundane. They will have an opportunity to spend more time on revenue generating processes, whether that is really explaining the coverages more clearly to their client, educating their consumers as to what it is they're buying, and even the output from Blue Pond AI. Even though it's an Excel format that is going back to the ASR CSR, that can be utilized by them as a side-by-side comparison that easily does the work for them. They don't have to compile that themselves. So you're right. This, to me, this is not going away. The adoption is it's all over the place, just as I expected it. Some people look at us and think, oh, this isn't going to work. And then there's other clients, and we just had one the other day where we did one single demonstration for a smaller broker who signed up with us by the end of our very first demonstration because he gets it. So I think if you're a student of insurance, the topic of generative AI has to be one of the biggest things that you're looking at because it will change your business. And if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to be like that pizza shop that doesn't have an app, or they don't have a website,
or even delivery for that matter. I mean, it's that crucial, right? And I mean,
that's right.
You know, I think it really also levels the playing field. You said something that I think is really important for everybody to hear, and that was that a small agency signed up, you know, before the end of the first demo. And I have so many friends that are trying to figure out how to run lean because they don't necessarily. It's a different animal to be an agency principal than it is to be a producer. I think we can all agree on that. I know both sides of the fence now. I prefer the production side of the fence because that's the more fun with less responsibility. And so I think that a lot of the times when a producer decides they can do it better and they can start an agency, that they just think they can sell their way out of all of the issues, and eventually I'll hire this account manager, I'll hire another producer or whatever else. It doesn't always work that way, unfortunately. And so, you know, I can remember back 8 years ago when I launched Florida Risk and think about what are the things that really took up my time, or if I didn't do them the right way, what are the things that should have taken up my time that I maybe ignored in the spirit of going out and producing more, that could leave everything I'm trying to build as an asset wide open for somebody to come in and sue me on an E&O claim or whatever else. And I hear about tools like this. I hear about people who are effectively leveraging virtual assistants for things outside of what we would normally expect in the industry. And it shows me that if you're a producer and that's really what you want to do, and you don't want to have the responsibility of growing a team and dealing with all of the other stuff that goes with it, you could probably grow a really good, profitable 1-person, 2-person agency and never look back. And I'm not talking about, when I say a really good, I'm not talking about 200,000 in revenue. You could have a multi-million-dollar agency with a very, very small human service platform as all of this continues to evolve. Like you, I watched the internet get built, man. I mean, it was non-existent when we went to college. We maybe had email, maybe was just starting to come around, but that's back in the days when the Netscape and the Prodigy and the AOL discs were all coming in the mail, and everybody was trying to figure out where this thing was going. And I'm a big fan of the elderly. I know that a lot of people get frustrated when an old lady is driving slow behind in front of you in traffic, or you're trying to get down the aisle at the grocery store. I tend to give them more grace, and really I enjoy conversations with people that are a lot older than me. And unfortunately, she passed away a couple of years ago, but my great grandmother is one of those people. I mean, just to sit and listen to this story she had from her lifetime. She was 90 some years old when she passed away, born, went through the Great Depression. And you think about, holy cow, like how much has she seen in her lifetime? It's just like, we like so many things that we take for granted today are like that. But then I look back at my own life, and as we continue to push the envelope and advance, multiple more things have been invented and developed and refined during my lifetime. And literally every time that I have done any public speaking around this topic in the course of the last 6 months to a year, the statement I make every time is this. And I'm saying this intentionally because if you're listening to this, you need to pay attention. I'm 100% right. I don't think anybody's going to convince me otherwise, but I feel like Chat GPT specifically and the large language model things that we're seeing become mainstream are the single greatest and most impactful development in technology since the internet came out itself. I think I can comfortably say that right now.
I 100% agree with you. I happened to be on a panel 2 weeks ago talking about generative AI, and I made a very similar analogy. I kind of joked about being pre-internet, et cetera. And I told even some of the younger folks who are in the audience, I said, look, you might be in your 20s, but mark this time, this year in your calendars, because you're going to be telling your children and your grandchildren that you lived in the world that was before generative AI. I totally agree with you. This is knowing as little or as much as I do, this is probably one of the most impactful things I've seen that's going to change our lives for the good, or for certainly for the good. And to your point about some of the older folks, what I find is interesting is that if you are a student of this business and you're a student of what's going on around you, you are paying attention. You are paying attention to what's going on. And if I could go back just for a quick second, because I think too, David, that's important that people do get a little afraid of this technology, and to lure is probably the wrong word, but to kind of coach someone into the water is fine and kind of experiencing generative AI. If I could just go back just for a quick second to say, one of the things that we try to do here at Blue Pond and separating ourselves is that we give our clients a free trial, whether that's, I don't necessarily want to say what that is. We'll have a one-on-one conversation, but we want to make sure that we can actually show the information that a broker has back to them. Because I can certainly demonstrate to them our stock or our stock information, but until they actually see their account and how they would have actually have done the comparison, that's really when the light bulb goes off. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for brokers with us. We're not charging them out of the gate. We do give them a free trial.